The small German port town of Sassnitz currently finds itself caught up in a diplomatic spat of international proportions. It's the logistical base for the Nord Stream 2 pipeline project, designed to bring Russian natural gas to Europe. There are only 150 kilometres of it left to build, but its future looks uncertain thanks to, firstly, US sanctions, and secondly, the possibility Europe decides to punish Moscow over the poisoning of Kremlin dissident Alexei Navalny. Anne Maillet and Nick Spicer filed this report.
These days in Sassnitz, you could almost think the Cold War never ended. And all because of a pipeline, the Nord Stream 2, meant to link Russia to Germany, but also a major irritant to US President Donald Trump. The little town on the island of Rügen in northeastern Germany now faces American sanctions. Old hands on the port can't believe it.
Honestly, it's ridiculous. All this because Sassnitz is building a pipeline?
It's so arrogant. We're in Germany, right? On the biggest German island. It's not some foreign power that's going to tell us what to do.
The project was always controversial, sending gas to Europe by going around the Baltic states, Poland, and Ukraine, and thereby not paying transit fees. There are only 150 kilometers of pipeline left to build, but for Washington, which also wants to sell gas to Europe, it's presented as a threat to the continent's energy security. The last warning shot was fired in August, a letter sent by U.S. senators to the mayor of the city, which is the majority shareholder of the port. They threatened crushing legal and economic sanctions.
At the end of the letter, it's written in black and white, destroy, which means our community business must be destroyed.
Company management as well as 70 employees are directly targeted. They're being strongly advised to avoid travel to the United States.
We are taking this really seriously because it's obvious that the United States is determined to scare us and advance their interests through force.
And it wasn't the first American threat. Work on the pipeline stopped in December after Congress passed a law punishing companies involved in building it. For now, it looks like nothing will get work started again, because a new wave of sanctions coming from Europe this time could hit the pipeline. Punishment for the poisoning of Alexei Navalny, a leading Kremlin critic. In Berlin, there are more and more calls to stop the project, and the government won't rule it out. Here, too, there has always been disagreement over Nord Stream 2, especially in the ranks of the conservatives, and it's getting very hard to defend it.
We Germans have never had a chance to defend the Nord Stream 2 project in a rational and adequate way. It's because it was launched by a former German Chancellor, Gerhard Schröder, 15 years ago. And now he's making a lot of money working for a Russian gas supplier. Since then, our partners have always been suspicious. And it's really unfortunate.
Experts studying the pipeline say the poisoning of Navalny could effectively kill the project. Economist Claudia Kempfert says that would be more painful for Moscow than for the other European countries involved.
The Nord Stream 2 pipeline is a great pressure point because it can really hurt Russia. The European companies working on the project would be impacted, but the big damage would be on the Russian side. The Russians want to sell gas for decades with the pipeline. The damage would be enormous, so it would make sense to freeze the project.
In this geopolitical conflict, Sassnitz could be just one victim of the collateral damage. In the meanwhile, more than 1,000 pipes sit stacked in the city's port, a catastrophe for this local politician of Chancellor Angela Merkel's CDU party.
It's worrying because we don't know what will become of the pipe and the project. It's hard to live with, especially as all we can do is sit and wait.
Ingo Trüsheim and his colleagues invited the American senators who threatened their town to come and visit, but without much hope. They're really hoping Merkel will end the conflict and save the local jobs.
It's a painful wait for the whole region because we don't know where we're going. or how we can continue to develop economically if the project is abandoned. The pipe will sit in the port, and that stops other companies from doing business. So jobs are in danger. For the region, it's a complete dead end.
Stuck in the middle of a giant geopolitical conflict, the little town of Sassnitz lives in a state of suspense. For the 100-odd European companies involved, the losses could run into the billions of euros.